and ordering decimals. Here, let's focus on just the comparing of those decimals. So to do this process, or why would we do this process? The basic idea is, which is larger? If we're looking at 0.06 and 0.60, how do we know what's larger and why do we care? Well, if we think of decimals as money, a lot of times that can help us order or make sense of things. If we have 0.06, think of that as 6 cents, literally 6 pennies. Or the 0.60 is like 60 cents, 2 quarters and a dime. It's easier for us to think about money in a comparison and maybe not as much just in numbers. So sometimes if you're comparing, that can be a trick of the trade. Why this is important? Well, what if we are ranking like in a 100-meter dash and we need to figure out who's fastest? Well, we're going to rank those times, and that comes down to decimals. If you're doing science experiments, if you're measuring the length of a piece of wood to make, some carpentry project, all of these things deal with decimals, and we need to be able to organize and compare those. So let's jump into the idea of this. With comparing decimals, we do have to pay attention to place value. Now, if you notice here on this place value chart, we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s located to the left of the decimal point. To the right, we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Everything that ends in a TH, that is to the right of the decimal. It means less than 1. So 1,000 ends in a D is a number larger than 1, but 1,000th ends in TH is a value less than 1. Place value is huge. If you don't know what you're rounding to, it's very hard to be able to compare. So how do we compare decimals? First, we're going to line up the numbers by the decimal point. We're going to use that as kind of our delineating factor there. We're going to add the zeros if we need to add zeros so the numbers have the same number of decimal places. So if you line them up vertically so that every number is on top of another number, those zeros are like place value holders. We're going to compare the digits from left to right. We start with the ones place, and then we go to the tenths, the hundredths, and we go as many places as we need before we have a legit comparison. What number is bigger? And then we're going to go until we find the first place where the digits are different. Now, when we do that, we'll be able to then write the comparison using a symbol of greater than, less than, or perhaps they will be equal. So let's go ahead and jump into an example. We are going to compare 3.47 and 3.5. So let's walk through our steps. First, we're going to line up the numbers by the decimal point and add zeros if needed. So when I write these vertically, I have 3.47, and then directly below that, 3.5. I add the zero so that the numbers have the same number of digits and place value holders there. Now we're going to compare the digits from left to right. So find the first place where the digit is different. Well, the digit in the ones place is 3. No difference there. So now we compare the tenths place. If you look at the tenths place, we see that 4 is less than 5, and therefore 3.47 is less than 3.5 because that 4 is less than 5. So you move until you find that spot, and that is the comparison piece. Also, what we talked about earlier, thinking about money, $3.47 is less than $3.50. If you want to change the numbers to money and have that help in your head, that is another way to think through it. Let's do another example. Janice ran 2.78 miles on Monday and 2.772 miles on Tuesday. On which day did she run farther? Well, this is a comparison of the two values. So let's line up the numbers by the decimal point and add zeros as needed. So I have 2.78, 0, and 2.772. Notice how those decimal points are right above each other. That's what we mean by saying line up the numbers by the decimal point. Now let's compare the digits from left to right and find the first place where they're different. The digit in the ones place and the tenths place are the same. We have 2, then we have the 7, And then we look at the hundredths place, that second digit after the decimal point, and we see that 8 is greater than 7, and therefore that top number is bigger. So 2.78 is greater than 2.772. So which day did Janice run farther? Janice ran farther on Monday because 2.78 miles is greater than 2.772. Let's do one more. If you have a piece of ribbon, oh wait, this is a you try it one. You try this one and then come back and see if you get it right. But we have a piece of ribbon that's 1.60 meters long and another piece is 1.6 meters long. Which ribbon is longer? Well, you might look at this and your answer might already be there, but if we're going to line up the numbers by the decimal point, we're going to add the zeros. When we add a 0 to 1.6 so that they have the same spots, it's pretty clear to see these numbers are the same. When you compare the digits, the ones place are ones, the tenths place are sixes, the hundredths place are zeros. This is the exact same number. So therefore, we can say 1.6 is equal to 1.60. And therefore, those ribbons are the same length.